Looks like it's going to be Lyra. They've banned Lyra quite a few times so far.
Yeah, Lyra is a pretty popular ban for Team Secret for sure. It used to be fairly popular with Gankstars in the past as well as Lance, but they've been kind of favoring the, I believe it was Kestrel ban yesterday a few times, very kind of unique style. Today they go with the Taka, so once again, not a common ban, but something that they definitely want to take away from the side of Team Secret.
Actually, I saw Apple put out a tweet yesterday of the top player for every hero in his opinion, and Arrow was listed for Kestrel, so I think that confirms our suspicions there.
Well, suspicions confirmed, but I wonder if maybe Palmatoro has been practicing some Taka in his life, because Cerberus does take that off for them. Samuel gets picked up first on side of Team Secret. We see the ever so strong combo of Adagio and Lance going over to the side of Cerberus.
Yeah, this combo, we've seen it multiple times. It's played in different positions, so curious to see how they're going to move forward. Knowing the tendencies of these players, do you think we see this in a roamer core position?
I definitely feel like Araki would run the Adagio. We might see a Arden to round out the comp if it's not picked up by Secret. Secret grabs the Baron. They're feeling inspired from our first series of the day.
I like this a lot. I mean, we talk about teams and players that pick up these new heroes and they haven't really practiced their work with them, but I feel like Secret is one of the squads that does it almost better than anyone, so I'm really excited. I'm assuming this goes to Kvalifar.
I mean, I would hope so. Oh, a Jewel. Very interesting.
We are at the estuary. This is right where the ocean meets the river. They're being
Delta.
pretty creative.
They've been very creative. So, I mean, we know that Team Secret, when they picked Rome Samuel in the past versus Gankstars, it worked insanely well. Gankstars had such a hard time working around it. They could easily flex that down. If this is a weapon power Baron, a CP Jewel is one of these kind of sleeping OP heroes we always talk about, like 20-second big red buttons at the late game is really strong.
Like an into an Adagio that lets out a verse or something, like rest in peace.
Yeah, I mean, if the Adagio is standing behind Arden and Lance, why not just blow him up through them? You can't you can't absorb the big red button. So, but it is the composition we thought Gankstars would run with.
So this is actually a rematch of semifinal right into it. Team Secret up against Gankstars Cerberus, and your shoutcasters are Scoundrel and Sona.
So,
yeah, man, you were right there. Didn't realize this was Battle Royale.
Well, okay, I'm going to reference a tweet that Playoff Beard made a tweet saying I expect to see these particular heroes in this upcoming weekend of the EVOLA. And then someone replied saying, "What about Jewel?" And everyone laughed at him. Well, buddy, pat yourself on the back.
Who's laughing
because
now?
we're seeing a Jewel.
Yeah, I think the thing about Jewel is she was mindly changed in update 122. So her heavy plating, instead of having a 90-degree cone in front of her, just to explain heavy plating, it's you get increased armor in a certain area in front of you. So it was 90 degrees originally. It's now 220 degrees.
It's pretty big. It's a pretty big buff.
It's a big change, but it looks like Kvalifar might be going for weapon Jewel here. He has got a Book of Eulogies. Of course, that could just be for laning, and he could go Crystal. But if you're going to jump into the enemy team, that change doesn't really make too much difference, because they're going to be behind you if you're jumping into the midst of them.
Okay, I'm going to phrase it like this. I definitely see your point, but I'll phrase it like this, right? You jump into the enemy team, but you don't jump past the enemy team. You jump
I'm sorry, that's so easy to do against an Arden and a Lance.
Yeah, okay, right. You jump into the front line, or you don't even jump at all. You just stand there whacking them, right? They've got to get round a 220-degree angle to get to the back line of Mowgli playing this Rome Samuel, who specifically, I guess, is to control with Oblivion. And then you have Palmatoro, obviously, playing Baron from, again, like this backline position, playing at Crystal Power as well. The zone control from this team is unbelievable. So this is a pure zone control team fight coming out from Team Secret. You have Kvalifar whacking away as weapon power Jewel, and then everywhere around, huge range on the Porcupine, massive damage coming down from the ultimate. Zone control is huge. I mean, look at that.
Drifting Dark's superbly placed here as well. We saw a lot of damage come down, but a triple impale. Kvalifar going to have to rocket leap his way away. Just about survives off towards the side, healing himself up off those minions. And that was a great impale from Techno JJ, and that's the risk that Team Secret have here. Yes, you might have good area control with your Porcupine Mortars. You might have good area control with your Malice and Verdict, but if you get that impale landing on you, Techno JJ and Iraki's are going to be able to wail away on your entire team.
Yeah. That's what happens when your team, as we've seen multiple times this weekend, face check a Lance in a brush. That's just what happens.
Don't do it, man.
I don't think that's anything special. That's just face checking a lance in the brush. I mean, you could play any composition, and if your entire team face checks a lance and a brush, you're going to get 3-man impaled, and especially around those walled areas of the jungle. However, I'm really interested to see how this does work out. I think the big combo to think about here, Sona, is Oblivion into Crystal Power Baron ultimate.
Yeah, the Iron Cannon coming down as well.
Exactly.
That can be incredibly powerful with a big red button on top of it as well.
Yeah.
As the Iron Cannon comes down. I mean, this is the first time we've seen Crystal Baron in a streamed game. So let's have a quick talk about how this is actually different from the Weapon Baron we saw coming out from G2. Firstly, of course, if I give the basics and then you can fill in on the extra details, Mowgli's going to have to try and escape here. 1 second. Drifting Dart comes out. Iraqi's always going to take a lot of pain. We can't talk about the basics yet. Impale onto Mowgli. He's going to be the first blood. Here comes the rocket leap in from Kvalifar. Iraqi will fall. And now Palmatora and Kvalifar are going to look to get away. I do like the rocket leap jump jets combination they've got. They can both escape like pretty quickly if they need to. But Crystal Power Baron. Okay, so Crystal Power on Porcupine Mortar. It increases the range of Porcupine Mortar. So that's pretty powerful when you want those long-range area controls later on. Crystal Power on Jump Jets extends the range of the jump as well. And then, of course, Crystal Power on Iron Cannon, it scales really well with Crystal Power, so you're doing a lot more damage. How is that going to affect them as they get into these fights, though?
So what this means is that as you essentially are looking to get huge combos down with your very long-range Porcupine, and obviously also the ultimate too. So the real point of a Crystal Power Baron is to just land massive amounts of damage and then just get out as far as you can, or just try and land weave in any basic attacks that are possible. Because obviously your basic attacks won't do as much if you're playing this Crystal Power route, but they still can have splash damage which can be effective regardless of what weapon power you're sitting on.
Techno has picked up his tension bow now. It's what we've been seeing on all of these Lancers, doing so much work with that Impale onto Kvalifar and Palmatora. They're not able to dodge away too quickly, and that is also a risk going Crystal Power on towards the Baron, because your jump jets takes quite a long time for you actually to get off the ground. If Techno JJ is quick on it, he can be jumping on top of you and stopping you from being able to get anywhere away from the fight.
The issue is that because Porcupine missiles are so long to get to their designated target, if you have the movement speed, when you upgrade the boots, it just gets easier and easier for Gankstars Cerberus to try and dodge that out. But you can see, as long as Palmatora is placing them correctly, you're always going to be forcing people to move away from these particular areas. And what that can do is that you can shepherd people with your Porcupine Mortar into the Iron Cannon. You can shepherd people into Big Red Button. You can shepherd people into Oblivion so that you can combo the rest of the skills I said previously. So that is realistically what I think we're going to see here. Basically, as a weapon power duel, you can tank this big melee lineup by just facing them. And then you just allow Baron from the backline to do what he can do as Crystal Power.
I agree. And I think that having that duel as weapon power can do a lot of work, but I feel perhaps Crystal Power might have been just superior in this, because if you're looking for the combo, if that's your strategy, area control with a combo, you've got so much more damage with the Thunderstrike if you build it Crystal, you've got so much more damage with the Big Red Button if you build it Crystal, and you're still getting that heroic perk in the back. You still got that extra armor and shield when you're facing your enemy. I like weapon because it diversifies your damage and means the enemy team can't specifically go along the shield route, but I think Crystal is going to give you more damage later in the game.
I feel like with the damage that the Baron provides in Crystal Power, you don't need it. I feel that you're putting too many eggs in one basket if that's the route that you are attempting to take. With the weapon power duel, you always have another threat that is consistently applying damage. That if your
Kvalfar's going to die, man.
Yeah,
he gets caught out once again. Mowgli has to retreat away. Good gauntlet there by Net Toilette to pick up the kill. They're going to get the Impale onto Mowgli as well, and he only just survives with that Halcyon Potion and the fountain use as well. It wasn't even actually a potion, just the fountain there for Mowgli to keep himself alive. Palmatora's just been farming up his own jungle here. He's going to come back into the lane, probably pop down that Iron Cannon to clear out the wave if Gankstars look to push it in any further.
What I need to think about, or rather, wow, he went pretty aggressive onto Mowgli there. What I'm thinking about here is why Kvalifar was so far behind in experience at that particular level.
But Mowgli's been in the lane for a long period of time, and you get experience from taking the gold mine, so Gankstars got extra experience from that. Iraqi's is 6, he's about 6.5, and Kvalifar is about 6 1/3, so it's not 6 1/4. It's not a huge difference, actually. Techno was just really able to farm up well. He gets onto Palmatora once again. There's the jump in by Kvalifar. Big Red Button onto Iraqi's takes him down. Great combination there. Now they're going to see if they can turn on to Techno JJ, who will just run away. Kavalifar has always been the kingmaker for Team Secret. He's always been that guy who goes through their draft phase, you know, sets them up. The question is now, is he the jewel in the crown of this Team Secret lineup, or will we have to see Gankstars Cerberus being able to fight up against them later on in this match? It's an interesting draft. It's an odd draft. But at the moment, Team Secret look like they're holding their own.
Yeah, and I like the use of the... By the way, I totally noticed that pun. It was really good.
Thanks, man.
I like the use of the rocket jump there to act as a peeling tool. You know, Lance jumps in, you just position yourself between Baron and Lance, and you've knocked the rest of the enemy team away, and that allows Baron then to escape. So I totally like the way that Kavalifar is playing this. And you can see that he can then just start to whale in damage, you know, soaking things up with that 220-degree defense matrix. And then just whamming down with this weapon power duel, which can really be a significant threat. And if he needs to go aggressive with rocket jumps to get into the backline and deal with Adagio, he can do. You know, that is always an option for him. It's a versatile composition. The issue is that if you don't land the Baron skills, you're kind of essentially stuck between a rock and a hard place.
But the Baron skills are massive AoE hitboxes. Like, yes, Gankstars can do a good job of dodging them, but Palmetto used to play a bunch of Lance. Actually, great gauntlet there onto Mowgli. He's going to pop. There's the big red button as well. Net Toilet having to retreat away into the Oblivion. And here comes Palmetto. Iron Cannon's coming down. Iraqi takes 600 damage from the Iron Cannon. He was on the edge as well.
He was on the edge.
Holy moly.
That was ridiculous. And also, I love the build from Palmetto. Knows exactly that the only reason he is here is to deal as much damage in a zone control method as possible, and has gone just straight for the Shatterglass. I completely agree with this build. If you're going to go down Crystal Power Baron, you don't really hold any utility. You are there to do as much damage as possible. Just go for the Shatterglass, and this is exactly what he has done. Look at the siege as well. A double Porcupine Mortar onto the turret, and you're doing a huge amount of damage. Just imagine if you consistently apply those over and over again. The chipping, almost chipping it away for free as well. It's massive for Palmetto. Really love the play here. And also, you've got to remember, if Rocket Jump lands offensively and he gets a stun, that's basically a free double Porcupine Mortar for Palmetto. That's pretty huge as well. And you saw in that last fight zone, the zone control these guys had was out of this world.
Impale onto Kavalifar. He will rocket leap his way away, and Team Secret get back to defend their turret once again. The siege coming out from Gankstars just isn't as strong. I feel this Gankstars draft is really strong. Like, against any other team who had drafted the way that we've seen the rest of the teams draft this Evil 8, that would be a great draft. You've got Arden and Lance, you've got such a great combination. Perhaps chuck a Catherine in there instead of the Arden, and you've got an incredible lineup with the Adagio there as well. But Team Secret have just totally turned the books on, turned it all on its head. Like they said, well, we don't need a strong front line. We've got Kavalifar, who is our front line. We don't need to get Samuel in lane or in jungle. You know, we'll play in Rome. They totally turned this completely on its head. They're building Crystal Power Baron, and they're doing a great job of it. Kavalifar takes some pain once again. There's a gauntlet lands on Mowgli and Palmetto. They're going to target down the Samuel, but the big red button comes down. Techno just about escaping off towards the side. And Team Secret able to get out of that one with their lives once again.
Ion Cannon deals 560 damage there to Iraqi Zoro, despite the fact he's already picked up some shielding. No, actually he hasn't. He hasn't picked up any shielding. So that's 560 damage just slammed down onto Iraqi Zoro there.
Is Palmetto going for a clockwork second item? Got a chronograph and an energy battery in his
yeah, I mean, why not? Like, you just you're there to deal damage with your skills. Like, that's what you're there for. So get your skills.
Welcome to Vainglory, where people are there to deal damage with their skills.
Okay. Yeah, but he's not utility. Like, realistically, like, he's just there to spam as many Porcupine mortars as possible and get that Ion Cannon off cooldown as quickly as possible. And remember, there was a slight buff to Clockwork. He went up from 25% bonus ability power to 30% bonus crystal power rather. So. It's had a small buff. It will combo very well the Shatterglass as a second item. You do get a fairly significant increase in your crystal power.
That you do, and it works really well, but it's just Team Secret adapting once again the way that we've always seen them do. They understand what they need to get out of a draft, what they need to get out of their heroes, and they play it to perfection a lot of the time. However, Not to put a downer on Gankstars, they are still very much in this game. Gold's even. They've got an alternating current already picked up on towards that Adagio. Storm Crown and Tension Bow finished on Techno JJ. He's building up towards his Sorrow Blade. And Net Toilet has got his Fountain and his War Treads for the engage as well. If they can get onto Palmatoro and keep him locked down with an Impale Gauntlet combination, they can really melt through that Baron very, very quickly. He hasn't really got any defense
if they
quite
get
yet.
to that Baron though, right? You can see because the range from Porcupine Mortar is going up right now. Palmatoro almost doesn't need to get in range of the well, he got in range there, but gets out with the reflex block. He doesn't even need to get in range of the Impale. So you just see Palmatoro just is untouchable. And I love this. This is a really sensible draft from Team Secret. You can see that Lance is particularly weak against heavy zonal control type abilities, but just because when he commits, he becomes so static that he plays directly into this high amount of damage coming out from the Porcupine.
Well, we're going to see the turret being focused down once again. Impale onto Mowgli. Cavalifar from the side. The Iron Cannon's going to come down. Iraqi's in the midst of it. 770 damage straight to the face of the Adagio. He does survive through it though. And now it can try and heal himself back up. Impale misses once again from Techno JJ. They're doing all they can to defend their turret, but Iraqi needs to get out with his life. Techno, the new target hit from Palmatoro. Porcupine Mortar dodged away, just rolls his way away from it. I've just remembered actually, Rocket Leap on Jewel is called Rocket to the Moon this patch because it's the autumn patch. Apologise everyone.
Yeah, it's a great skill name.
Rocket to the Moon, boys.
Rocket to the Moon. Well, I tell you what, Team Secret are jumping on a rocket to the moon right now because they are literally starting to accelerate away just in terms of the way they are controlling these team fights. You saw there that they had Lance running all over the shop. You know, traditionally as Lance into a squishy composition, you want to be rolling in, landing a basic attack, using Impale, landing a basic attack, proccing as much as you can to try and proc that Tension Bow. Just isn't managing to make it work this time round, just because he's having to play or sort of keep away from the damage output of Palmatoro right now. You know, every time that the area comes down for the things, you look at it, he rolls away. Now he can't roll offensively, but Mowgli walks straight into it.
Mowgli is caught out. There's the Impale as well. The big red button comes in from Cavalifar from the side, but Mowgli will be the first to fall. And now Cavalifar and Palmatoro have to back away. They do still have those Porcupine Mortars. They've still got the Iron Cannon as well. If this Kraken is started up by Gankstars, they need to be incredibly careful. I mean, we're looking at this, and Team Secret had a superb middle portion of this game. They played incredibly well. They've been able to push the turrets. My question is this. We've always known Adagio as a late game carry, incredibly powerful as you get later on into the matchup. Have Team Secret missed the trick? Have they taken this game too long? They're going to take Techno very low though. There's the Porcupine Mortars missing off towards the side, but that next one's going to hit not quite enough to take down Techno JJ. The gauntlet used to keep Team Secret away from the fight. Ion Cannon. Not enough. Iraqizo has a little bit of shield under his belt with that Aegis now, so only doing about 500 HP to him at the moment.
No, definitely not. Baron CP carry, absolutely ridiculous late game, to be honest. Just the damage output he has, with the scaling that he has on his abilities, he's a ridiculous late game carry. Looks like he's going towards a Broken Myth now. Makes sense, you start to stack that up every time you land a Porcupine Mortar. And also the fact is that Adagio just isn't getting close enough to land any basic attacks. You know, he's just not really in a position, unless they're catching Mowgli out. I mean, they caught Mowgli out there. That shouldn't happen usually for Team Secret. But he's just not getting anywhere close. You know, every time he steps up, you're going to see... Well, I think when Palmatoro gets in, you see Adagio step up, you're just going to start to see Palmatoro lay down some Porcupine Mortar. And you see that Iraqizo can't go anywhere near it because it's too much damage. Techno JJ continuously has to run away. Too much damage. They can't find the engage they want, but Mowgli may be having to overstep his boundaries once more. That's the kind of position that will put Team Secret in a serious issue if he continues to separate himself from the team. Really just, you know, using that Oblivion is the most important thing, I think, for Mowgli.
Big red button is used. Net Toilet is there on the backline trying to get onto Palmatoro. He does get rooted down. Mowgli's on top of Iraqizo, but Iraqi is looking for this fight. Mowgli off towards the side. Net will get healed up with the Gift of Fire, and Gankstars once again retreat away from the Team Secret lineup. They will be able to get themselves away towards safety, but really you have to feel that Team Secret won that fight. Look at their health bars, look at their energy bars, and look at the position they have on the Halcyon Fold at the moment over Gankstars Cerberus.
Absolutely. You're going to have to start waiting to use your reflex blocks for the Ion Cannon here. You know, you would think, even maybe having to dodge those stray Porcupine Mortars too. But like I said, after this, I wouldn't even be surprised, you know, to see Palmatoro maybe pick up a Frostburn as a fourth item. Maybe also think about a second Shatterglass, just because his crystal power ratios, especially with Clockwork, are just going to go through the roof. Palmatoro now runs in, his wave clear, their siege, their push is all so fantastically good here for Team Secret. And you know, you see that when they barrel in, you're seeing Kvalifar just pop that big red button. Even as a weapon power carry duel, it's still a hefty, damaging ability. You still can't sit in it. And you see that, you know, when Lance and Arden try to barrel in, big red button is popped, they take a lot of damage and instantaneously are forced to be defensive once more. I haven't seen Techno land a solid combination of basic attacks this entire game.
Well, here he comes. He's going to see if he can get in from the side. Does have a good impale. There it comes. Palmetto dodges out from it with his jump jets and now net to the target. He's going to get taken incredibly low. The ion cannon is coming down, but it won't quite connect. Already, Mowgli is pushed into the wall there with the Githian wall. We've seen Kvalifar fall. Palmetto, the new target. Techno gets onto him. And Gankstars Cerberus able to win out the fight.
Wow, Gankstars able to... I think take a different line to usual.
Oh, Mowgli might go down. It's an ace actually for Gankstars. Mowgli well overextended.
Wow, okay.
And able to solidify that fight with the ace and with a turret and probably with a Kraken as well off this. Gankstars right back in this matchup.
Oh, way back into it. I think they caught Team Secret unawares there. Just specifically, War Treads, I think, have been picked up here for Net Toilet, so it's a pretty big addition because it just allows Techno JJ to barrel in with this Lance and deal, or try and land an impale where he can. Traditionally, Team Secret wouldn't want to be in a position where War Treads becomes a real issue for them, but unfortunately they got caught, maybe a little bit overconfident, maybe a little bit overestimating what they could do as a team. And importantly, they didn't really manage to land the ion cannon. Actually, Gankstars made a pretty good decision to try and take out Kvalifar first while ignoring and just dodging as much of Palmetoro's stuff as possible, because I guess this is the key for Team Secret, is they actually have to land their stuff. So if you are able to dodge those porcupine mortars, which obviously the increased movement speed as you upgrade your boots will allow you to do, you actually are just negating a huge portion of Team Secret's damage regardless. Mowgli now the target.
Yeah, Kvalifar's going to jump in though. There's the Oblivion as well. Techno's separated from the rest of his team. Oblivion still on Iraqi. Kraken still pushing on towards the turret as well. Techno goes incredibly low. Big red button doesn't connect though. Kvalifar not able to get that extra damage down. The Kraken gets a turret, and it looks like Gankstars are still looking for more. Gauntlet comes down. Kvalifar has to block it out with his reflex. The Porcupine Mortar's doing a lot of work from Palmetto here, but he is running out of energy quite quickly. Yeah. Kraken isn't going to be able to get the second turret, but Gankstars want to try and help it push in. Impale onto Kvalifar. They do manage to take down Techno JJ. Net the new target. He'll fall as well. They take one in response. It's a double, actually, but Palmetto should be able to clean this one up. The heal from Iraqi's with the gift of fire will keep him alive. Look at the damage from Iraqi, but the Porcupine Mortar is enough to take him out. Palmetto wins the 1v1 and takes the ace.
I just managed to get the energy required for the final Porcupine Mortar, and honestly, if he hadn't hit that, that would have been Iraqi Zorro running away with that 1v1, because obviously Palmetto missed and then he committed, and he's like, actually, I've got literally 0 weapon power, so this basic attacks are doing nothing. The heal was obviously out-healing his damage output, and then the final Mortar there managed to seal the deal. But you can see, you know, when Team Secret are playing the more paced team fight, I definitely think fighting around their turrets is well in their advantage, because obviously it adds to their ability to control things around those particular structures. Their issues are going to be when they get forced into areas where they don't have vision, they get caught out by the surprise engages coming out from Gankstars, and actually maybe even caught out trying to siege onto the enemy turrets further down the lane, because obviously they have nothing to fall back on. They can't kite easily into safety because they don't have the safety of their turrets. I think Team Secret, one of their bigger wins could be when they are being pushed in and they turn it around almost instantaneously. Again, see, they get caught out.
Looking for the impale. There's the gauntlet. Iraqi's asleep at the back of this fight. Sleeping on the job is exactly what he's doing. I mean, it's early in America, but he needs to wake up and get back into the fight, which he does in time. And Team Secret not able to get anything out of that one apart from stopping the Gankstars' advance.
Wow. That's probably as good as you're going to get for Team Secret, because the problem with relying, I guess, on Crystal Power Baron to be your later game carry, and obviously the fact that you've got a melee carry from Jewel, who without the rocket to the moon is not particularly mobile after having used that ability. Although, let's have a look at this.
Big red button. I actually looked that up. It does 2,200 damage over the course, even without Crystal Power scaling. So that's still a huge amount of damage coming out from that if you are standing in it for a long period of time.
And you have to respect it.
And it's exactly where Team Secret want you. Like, if you're all in a narrow window, a narrow tunnel in the jungle, Team Secret can put a huge amount of damage down on you so quickly.
Yeah, but you also play into Lance then as well, and you also have to really control vision during team fights if that's the way you want to play. You go through a brush and you have no vision and you try to make a counter engage by controlling zones or whatever in those limited areas, then you're going to get caught out by a War Treads advance coming out from Gankstars. Although Mowgli on this roam Samuel that realistically is only there to soak up damage and use Oblivion.
He's got Aftershock, man. It's doing tons
he's got Aftershock. Okay, he's actually got Aftershock. Yeah, I can see. So his basic attacks. I mean, that's going to be a heavy hitting corrupting genius if he does manage to land it.
Well, Frostburn now completed on the Adagio as well. Let's quickly run over the items before this Kraken fight starts. Double Tyrant's Monocle Solar Blade on Kavalifar. There's the Aftershock on Mowgli, which is slightly surprising, into a flare gun and an Atlas.
I would have preferred to maybe see a Frostburn there instead, but Aftershock's fine.
Yeah, definitely could work. Net's going to engage a little bit here. There's a Drifting Dark as well. Team Secret might want this because the Adagio's not quite with the fight, but here comes the Impale. Techno misses that. Porcupine Mortars from the side are going to do huge work to Iraqi Zoro. Kavalifar's trying to take him down. The Oblivion comes out as well, but there is the burst. He goes to sleep in the middle of it. He sings himself a lullaby and goes to sleep in the middle of the burst, and he gets taken out. Now Net Toilette going to get chased down towards the bottom side. Team Secret will get 2 kills out of this. Porcupine Mortar actually doesn't connect. He's going to follow with the jump jets though. Another Porcupine not going to hit. Those spikes are pretty difficult to dodge though, and Palmatai will get his second kill of the fight. They do manage to take down 2 members of Gankstars and keep themselves in this game.
I'm super surprised we didn't see Ion come down there, but it was a really fantastic fight for Team Secret because, like you said, in those enclosed areas, suddenly Porcupine Mortar becomes that much more impactful, harder to dodge, can't really negotiate multiple angles away from it, and now you're going to start to see Palmatai try and siege onto this turret, and the siege of Crystal Power Baron is pretty out of this world. The only issue is if you're using Porcupine Mortar onto a turret, you're not using it to zone Techno away, which is why Techno was healthy enough to try and rebut this here, and obviously the energy was starting to run out here for Palmatori, so maybe he considers some sort of energy regen. So no, I think he's got some coming through from Clockwork, but
got House in charges as well, which will give him a little bit. At the moment, she's gone for some potions. So popping one of those for the energy regen. I want to just bring up an interesting point here, because Team Secret really only have one form of crowd control, apart from the rocket leap, or the rocket to the moon, and that is Oblivion. That's really all they've got to try and stop the advance of Gankstars, or to try and catch them out. Now, there's a Crucible and an Aegis, both on Iraqi Zoro and Techno JJ. You have to feel that they should be Crucibling that Oblivion, and every fight thus far, at least one of them's been getting caught out, and it's meaning that they get taken out. Another fight's going to start here. Porcupine Mortar's not quite connecting there. Mowgli's going to put the Oblivion down once again. It lands onto Net, but a double impale hammer is the damage. So much work from Iraqi Zoro. Big red button. He keeps himself alive through it, and now it's up to Mowgli and Kavalifar to try and take down Iraqi Zoro. They can't do it. Gankstars take down 2 members. They're going to be able to chase down on towards this Samuel as well. Mowgli really doesn't have anywhere to go at all, and will be taken out by the Gankstars. Going to try and turn back onto Iraqi Zoro, but they will take the ace, and they can look for this Kraken as well. It's going to be a great advantage for Gankstars Cerberus.
Yeah, a couple of issues in that particular engage. This is the issue I have with this is the issue that I have with trying to fight as Team Secret deep into the jungle. You really limit your options to retreat as Baron, and yes, your zonal control becomes more important, but as does Lance's ability to use Githian Wall, Lance's ability to land very accurate impales. I almost feel like you should really be trying to pull it back towards the lane, where although you might have less zonal control with your Porcupine, with your Ion Cannon, you still have the ability to try and kite backwards more effectively. And also you saw there Kavalifar popping the big red button because he didn't really feel like he could start to do any weapon power damage. The gauntlet placement was fantastic, and you saw that Kavalifar was kind of stuck. He really couldn't do the damage that he needed to Iraqi Zoro. And he tried to leap at the end and leapt straight into the wall of the gauntlet once more. So Team Secret's strengths lie when they are the ones kiting backwards. You know, they need to be given a lot of time and space to be able to do that. If they get forced into an engage where they're consistently looking to be defensive and aren't focusing on kiting and controlling zones, then that's where they're going to really start to struggle. But look at how quickly the Kraken's going down here.
First Vein Crystal has fallen though, and the gauntlet comes down onto Palmato. He needs to get out of this one. Techno's going to try and jump on him with the Impale. Lands it on him as well. The Kraken's dead, but they need to get back to Sanctuary. It's all up to Palmato. Keep himself alive. Ganksters going to retreat out of this one. Mowgli's looking for the chase though. There's the War Treads. Jump Jets comes out from Palma. They are going to go in for this one. A good Impale by Techno. Porcupine Mortar comes down, but Techno should be able to take down Palma in the backline, and they've killed off Cavalifar as well. Gankstars absolutely melting through Team Secret here. They'll take the ace. Yes, Ned Toilette will go to sleep, but he can have a well-deserved rest after really doing a great job with those gauntlet placements this game. They'll take the second Vein Crystal, tow it, and they'll go 1-0 up versus Team Secret in the second semi-final of the day.
Absolutely. Now, this is a game that I actually thought maybe Team Secret could win with, just because they were really forcing Techno to run around the park. He couldn't make any offensive plays as the game progressed. But honestly, once you started to get some movement speed in, once you started to be able to